Ladies, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Please be advised that this movie has no nudity.
I'm out.
Come on, Eddie. Let's go to the movies.
Yeah.
I just have to wee-wee.
And we're back. Just like the Five Musketeers.
What the hell am I looking at?
A country where culture means pornography and slasher films.
If you had these boobs, you'd be obsessed with them too.
Very exciting, big event. Everybody's excited, huh?
Last time I went to the pictures, I was looking at all the jiglins and...
We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Bring the family. Bring your friends.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
It's like, Christ almighty, I'm sorry that your mom banged everybody, but Christ almighty.
Christ almighty. Today's episode is brought to you by Christ almighty.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Brogue Talk.
Oh, no. We're bringing back the Brogue. So welcome back to Cinemadness, the podcast. I am Adam, and we were talking about the Brogue, and if you listen to our older episodes, you know what we were talking about. But I am also joined with Allison.
Hello, Adam.
And Roman.
It's a Scream, baby. Why do I... Yeah, stop it. Oh yeah. It sounds...
You were either holding in a fart or... I don't know. What's going on here. So
all I gotta say is I gotta leave money on the table now. Thank you.
We are starting our 4-episode series on the Scream franchise.
I only signed up for 2 episodes.
Well, then it's just going to be me talking. I'll do it all by myself. I'm excited to do this. I didn't even think about it until the other day when I was doing research that this year will mark the 25th anniversary of Scream.
I saw something on my lunch break today where it was Jamie Lee Curtis actually interviewing Neve Campbell for Variety. It's a YouTube video, and it was the 2 Scream Queens, and she brought that up. She goes... My movie, Jamie Lee Curtis... My movie came out 40 years ago, and yours came out 25 years ago. And, Neve Campbell in her sweet Canadian accent goes, yeah.
That sounds like a great interview.
Well, it's weird because, Jamie Lee Curtis was a Scream Queen because she screamed, and Neve Campbell's a Scream Queen because she's the queen of the Scream franchise. Because she doesn't really scream that much.
No. She kicks some ass, but hopefully we'll get into it a little bit more.
Oh, no, a little bit.
She's pretty annoying.
Before we actually get into the movies, especially the first one, this is going to be kind of a longer episode because we have to set up the whole Scream franchise and you get into it before we get into the first movie.
You can't run through 100 years of horror comedy horrorities in an hour? I set a high bar. Come on, dude.
A high bar. We're on episode 3 coming out next week for horror comedies.
Okay, horrorities. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that because you have no idea when this is coming out.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
It'll come out
next week after. It's just me.
It's
Adam the editor, not Adam the promoter.
Guys, it'll come out when it feels confident. Regardless, we love it.
And if it sees its shadow, that's 4 more episodes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive into it.
We're on a roll here.
Let's take a stab at it.
Oh, yeah. Stab. I was looking online for stab shirts.
Really?
Yeah. I found a couple, but they're expensive.
And did it cut real quick to stab 6, and then when you thought it was regular, it turned into stab 7?
Yeah. Stab 5 involved time travel.
Ooh. Well, stab 8 is in space.
Speaking of things in space, the 1990s was not a very good decade for horror.
It was not.
It had some. I mean, it had some winners, but it absolutely had some losers here. So, just a quick go over. The 90s gave us Misery, which
winner.
Was
Well, no, I thought you were going to give movie titles.
It gave us Jacob's Ladder. We got a lot of sequels. We got Child's Play 2.
Candyman.
We got Gremlins 2. We did get Candyman. We got the Tom Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead, which was really good. But then we got stuff like Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Did you just say Sexist Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes, the Sexist Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Okay.
And we got Hellraiser in Space. We had the Michael Myers Thorn movies, the ones that are just really bad, the Halloween 4, 5, and 6. And then
I haven't seen any of these.
Psycho 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Most of them were on Up All Night.
Yes.
So that's
Troll
how I know.
2 came
Yes!
Oh, God.
Just
the
end
Troll
it right
2.
there. Yes.
That's not the right direction. But we did get a big winner with Exorcist 3. That was a very good sequel. If you go to the website, Cinemadnesspodcast.com, you can see my write-up on Exorcist 3 and why it's so awesome.
I'm not going to make fun of how you say things.
Podness.
Yeah.
Podness Everdeen. We also got Tremors, the first Tremor movie.
I like Tremors.
I did too. It was great. But it's just, I mean, we got sequels that we didn't need. We got, The Gate 2. We got Basket Case 2. Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Slumber Party Massacre 3.
Yeah, which I didn't watch until about 2017.
Prom Night 3.
Wow.
Yes, it's called Last Kiss.
I only went to 2 proms, so it's doing better than me.
I remember getting kicked out of a lot of these movies being a young teenager. Too young for the movie theater.
You again?
You would think that, they would just let me in because, it was the middle of the day anyway. They didn't have anyone showing. But, the horror was getting kind of stale by 1996, and we needed an invigoration.
It did. I mean, if you think about the environment for the 90s, it was really big into, like, the military movies, if memory serves me correct. A lot of the action films were hits. Van Damme was a big star. Bruce Willis was still riding high on his Die Hard fame.
Yeah, we had Die Hard with a Vengeance come out in the 90s. Yep.
Yeah,
Van Damme was huge. We had the video game movies that no one saw.
Steven Seagal was still popular.
Yeah.
Around that time period.
Yeah, horror wasn't that prevalent.
No.
So it just took a simple man, a man who worked in porn, to decide to reinvigorate the horror genre, and that man
I didn't know you worked in porn.
No, it wasn't me. It was the one and only Wes Craven.
Wait, he worked in porn?
He worked in porn under different pseudonyms that he up until the day he died never gave this his name, but he said he's worked on stuff like Deep Throat. He was on that. He was a lot of porn stuff in the 70s. Him and Sean Cunningham did a lot of camera work for different companies and stuff.
Wasn't he a teacher too?
He went to school for teaching.
So did they give him the shaft in porn or what?
Apparently they did. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, him and Sean Cunningham were like buddies.
Oh, I heard that he was OCD on the sets. Yeah, he was too anal.
Oh my God, no, God. Wes Craven. If you don't know who Wes Craven is, let's give a small talk about this.
You're welcome, folks.
You don't know who Wes Craven is.
He was named the Master of Horror by the press and his peers, because he helmed such classics like The Hills Have Eyes, The Last House on the Left, Nightmare on Elm Street, and of course you cannot forget the absolute classic Music from the Heart with Meryl Streep.
Oh, absolutely. That was a horror movie. No, I'm kidding.
That was his favorite movie he's ever made.
I can see why. No, I can't.
Because it wasn't like anything he did.
It's what he always wanted to do. Yeah. He loved romance movies. He loved drama movies.
And I'm sure he loved working with her. I mean, who wouldn't want to work?
Yeah, who doesn't want to work with Meryl Streep? But it's so weird because he's the master of horror. He makes all this stuff, he made all this stuff that was just unbelievably groundbreaking for every time he would do something. He saw a rough cut of Friday the 13th, his buddy Sean Cunningham made, without any music, and he said it was the most boring movie he's ever seen.
I can see that.
Yep.
Yeah, until Harry Manfredini put in the score, and then he said, "You've got yourself one of the best horror movies I've ever seen." So I mean, that's a big thing coming from from Wes Craven. And Sean Cunningham worked with him on Last House on the Left as well as the Hills of Eyes. He was very adored by everyone he worked with. He had the warmest affection. He was a funny, gentle person. If you watch the blooper reels on all of the Scream movies, he's always making them laugh. He's always like jumping out of doors to scare people just because he was a goofy guy.
And actually in Scream the movie, he kept the floors nice and clean.
Yes, Fred the janitor.
Yeah.
But sadly, he passed away in August of 2015 at the age of 76 due to a brain tumor. And not just the horror community, but the entire entertainment industry still feels his loss, and still feels it today. Fortunately, we are forever blessed with his works that will go on for generations. So, it hit me hard when I heard Wes Craven passed, because I was just watching something with him on it, and it was just him. It was probably Never Sleep Again, than the Elm Street documentary, and I love hearing Craven talk about things because he just loved everything that he did. He loved his cast, he loved his crew, he just enjoyed making movies, and it shows in everything that he made. But instead of going somber, let's get into the first Scream movie, shall we?
The year was 1996.
Well, it was 1991, I think.
The year was 1991. Back when Hammer was still legit. Oh,
I got that.
Fist
yes.
bump. Geek toys.
It was 1991, but we'll get there in a minute. First, I wanted to do a quick overview of the movie. It had a buttload of taglines, which we found out is a real unit of measurement.
It is.
We don't know exactly how hogshead came to be the name for a measurement of wine, 63 gallons of it to be exact, and I don't think we want to know. If you've got 2 hogsheads, that's called a pipe or a butt. So when someone tells you that they drank a buttload last night, they are either lying or dead.
Now you know.
Yeah. I thought you guys were going to talk about the tagline being a form of measurement. So now I realize that we're talking about buttloads, and wow.
Buttloads.
Wow.
Welcome to Buttload Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, this is a public service announcement. Have you checked your buttload?
Attention brewers and vintners. Have you checked your buttload recently? The taglines for this movie, I only put down a few of them because a lot of them were just variations of the same taglines, but the first one is, "Someone has taken their love of scary movies one step too far. Solving the mystery is gonna be murder."
That's all one tagline? That is way too long for a tagline.
Yeah.
The next one is, Make your last breath count.
Oh.
Nah, I'm not digging that one either. Next.
Let that one breathe for a second.
Okay.
Let that buttload breathe.
No, let that one breathe. In my last breath. I got it.
Yeah.
From the first name in suspense comes the last word in fear.
Ooh.
Nope.
This one's long, too.
Oh, God.
Don't answer the door. Don't leave the house. Don't answer the phone. But most of all, don't scream.
Nope.
Wow.
And then there was variations of it, but that was basically the taglines. A lot of it was just... the most popular one was, "Someone has taken their love of scary movies one step too far. Cut."
So, do we have any guesses on what taglines didn't make it? Like, real quick, I know we're going to dive back into it, but anything that...
Well,
I don't have like notes that I didn't write down.
No?
What's up?
That was Scary Movie.
Yeah, which hopefully we'll dive into.
We will.
But that's where they got that from. A failed tagline. They got it out of the trash and they're like, score.
Scree A.M. It was the three frogs.
Let's see.
Let's go in Budweiser commercials with this.
Ghost face in your face.
Or like the Wu-Tang comes out, Ghostface Killer comes out, and he's like, yo, 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 yo.
There you go.
So much Drew Barrymore.
School's out.
But school wasn't
for
out.
murder.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So those would be the canceled taglines.
I like
for good
ours
reason.
better, actually.
Yeah. I do like School's Out for Murder. Right?
School's Out for Murder.
School wasn't out.
It was.
It was. Remember? Skis out,
cut it out.
Skis out.
Yeah,
remember?
they
your boy Matthew Illard.
They cut him. They cut him out of school, and then they gave him a curfew.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you say
if you would have
School's
watched the first movie again, you would have realized.
No, I don't need to. You make it sound like I'm sorry. I get what you're saying, but when you say School's Out, I take it as School's Out for summer. That's
right.
all I take it.
And they played the song in the movie.
Yeah.
Right, but
School's been blown to pieces.
It wasn't out for summer, so that's all I'm saying.
Ooh, you sounded like your child just then.
No.
Oh. That's not nice.
No,
My
I mean you
child
did.
Doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, when he's doing this like loud, goofy voice, that's what he sounds like. That's what you sounded like. Small synopsis of the movie. We don't even talk about it. It's just for the listener's view. A small mountain town is thrown into a frenzy as a killer goes around murdering teenagers in a dime store Halloween costume, toying with them with phone calls, and
ring.
The main character Sydney Prescott and her friends seem to be in the middle of it all.
That was my high school nickname, Dime Store Halloween Costume.
I was going to say Sydney Prescott. Your nickname was a character from a movie? Dime Store.
Dime Store.
Dime Score.
Dime Score.
At least it wasn't the Dollar General store. God, I hate the Dollar General.
Everybody comes in and out.
The Dollar General.
So Woodsboro, I mean, is it really considered a mountain town? I mean...
Well, I mean... I put that in there because when the crane shot pulls back at the end, there's mountains around the.
Okay, so there's mountains in California.
Yeah,
I figured California.
Yeah, it was shot in
shit. Wow, shit never.
Oregon.
No, it was shot in California.
Oh, okay.
Santa Rosa, California. In fact, well, I'll get into the school thing. With
Only an
Santa
idiot
Rosa.
would have murder in Santa Rosa. Everybody know you would go to the beautiful. Shit, I forgot. I messed up the quote.
He's trying to Lost Boys us.
No. Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, the San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando Valley.
Not Santa.
Anyways, please continue.
Not Santa. The movie stars Neve Campbell, Skeet Ulrich, not unlike Leesburger, Matthew Lillard, the American treasure, Courtney Cox, Rose McGowan, David Arquette, Jamie Kennedy, and briefly Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Little trivia on some.
She got cut from the movie, by the way.
She got cut bad from the movie.
Oh yeah. She really gave her guts out in that performance.
I was going to do trivia on this, but I'll just go right into it.
Shit.
She signed on for the movie
Yeah.
before even reading the script. She's just like, yeah, I want to do it.
A lot of people did that on these movies.
Well, this was the first one.
I know, but I'm saying that I would too if my agent gave me a script written by Kevin Williamson and directed by Wes Craven. I would be like, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, and at the time, Drew Barrymore, she was kind of in a doldrums.
Exactly.
Right. It was before her big resurgence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
this was a perfect role for her because it wasn't the main role, and it got people talking because you thought you thought she was going to be it.
It was the Janet Leigh thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's precisely where they went.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by how many, and re-watching these, how many, like, actors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get into that with every episode.
We're saying we'll get into that. We know we're going to get into that, but we're just bringing it up.
Courtney Cox had to fight like crazy for her role as Gale Weathers. She absolutely wanted this role, and she had to prove to them that she wasn't this nice character all the time, and that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to play a bitch to counteract everyone's thoughts because of Friends.
And
which is funny because Monica isn't even a nice person on Friends.
But they're nice characters.
Yeah,
but she was also too busy dancing in the dark, so...
There it is.
That doesn't even make sense.
Because she was in the music video?
No, I got that. But this was so far in the past that it doesn't make sense.
So
hold on. I'm going to delete my joke that I was going to make about Fonz in high school.
I made this trivia note for Allison personally. The voice of Ghostface was maintained throughout the entire series and included also in the TV series, which I never watched, by... did I not put his name down?
I watched it for 3 episodes, but the ghost face in there looked like a sex doll.
Yeah, they changed it for the show. Mm-hmm. He was voiced by a voice actor named Roger Jackson.
How many cigarettes did that guy smoke?
He is a very deep-throated voice actor. I said deep-throated.
Well, that's connection right there.
Yeah. He mainly did video game voices, but he did some cartoons, and he was most well known for the cartoon Powerpuff Girls as Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo.
Huh.
You knew that already. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Did he also play the Rat King? I have a Rat King vibe from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, I didn't go that far back. He might have.
Yeah. He's
got a really good voice.
He really does.
Yeah. I tried to redo it on our little voice changer thing, and it did not work. There's like super high and then like really low. There's no in between.
There's no ghost face.
There's no ghost face. I even looked at Spirit, and their voice changers suck. Jamie Kennedy got the role just by doing jokes in front of Wes Craven, and he laughed so much. He's like, "You've got the part." In fact, most of his stuff was improvised because Wes Craven had a big hard-on for Jamie Kennedy.
Well, that makes one person at least.
He was good in the first one.
No, he's just annoying.
I mean,
he's a great Randy, but
and he's an asshole.
He's just.
I've met him personally. I don't like him. Matthew Lillard didn't even go to the audition.
Wow.
He was taking his girlfriend to audition for another movie in the same building, and the casting director came out and saw him waiting and was like, "You have to go in there now and audition. You look like the part." And he read their lines and he was hired right on the spot.
You look like stew.
You look like a stew.
You look like a douchebag serial killer. Congratulations.
He kind of does.
Rose McGowan, she dyed her hair blonde just to take away, not so she didn't have the same hair as Neve Campbell.
I just want to know, how cold was that room before she got into the garage?
Right.
I mean,
we all saw that in the trailer too. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, there it is. There's the teen sex stuff.
Yeah, like, wow. It must be freezing in that room leading into the garage. You can thaw out. This is
a cool quote from Wes Craven when he's talking about Drew Barrymore. He always has these stories about his actors and how they get themselves to cry and stuff. Like the kid in New Nightmare, he talks about.
Oh, the dog, right?
No, he tells him they're like, we have this thing that we tell him that his mom leaves the room, and I tell him that your mom has died. And the kid can cry on command by that, and then she comes back with a Happy Meal, and everything's good.
That's horrible.
That's acting life.
That's horrible.
I
wouldn't need that to cry on demand.
Yeah, no. I don't either. I'm pretty good at crying anytime.
Sad.
Yeah, I think of my dog dying, and suddenly like I start to tear up just a little.
I just think about my life, and it works. Drew Barrymore told him a story of a boy who tortured. This is a quote. He's like, Drew Barrymore told me a story of a boy who tortured his dog with a lighter and set it on fire, and she burst into tears. And being the exploitive bastard that I am as a director, I said, "Do you mind if we use that?" So every time on set, if I wanted her to cry, I'd say, "The boy with the lighter," or something like that, and she would burst into tears and be just frantic.
Nice.
Wow.
And then right after cut, they were hugging and happy, and it's a weird life, the actor's life.
Good to know outside of porn, he's still effing people on camera.
But he's doing it in a nice way,
Oh, with permission. Oh,
yeah, he got consent.
Oh, well.
Now, the studio that produced this movie was Dimension Films, and it was a Weinstein company. Mm-hmm. It was an offshoot of Miramax that mainly focused on horror and sci-fi. And it was about to shut down because I think the last thing they did was Hellraiser Bloodlines, which was Hellraiser in space, and it did not do very, very well, even though Adam Scott was in it. Okay, so nothing on that. All right.
I didn't see that movie.
I just didn't want to do the stereotypical, Hellraiser in space.
Oh, I just thought people wanted to talk about Weinstein's.
What? Yeah, no.
No, thank you.
No.
We wouldn't. Sadly enough, we wouldn't have Scream if it wasn't for Bob Weinstein.
We wouldn't have a lot of stuff without him.
I would
But
say
we wouldn't have Quentin Tarantino.
But I'm not going to talk about it.
I would say I'm not touching Weinstein, but that
Ooh,
just
no,
opens too
no.
many jokes.
Nobody wants to,
Nope.
even though if he makes you.
Wow. Anyways, so which brings to light Scream 3 a little bit, casting couch and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
Just saying.
People have said in interviews recently how creepy it is, how parallel it is in that aspect of it with the Wes Craven-esque Lance Henriksen character.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Scream 3.
We're not. We'll get to it.
Yeah, no. We don't need to know anything about it. There's no actual character in there that, yeah.
Oh, my God. Every time I saw that movie the other day, I thought of you.
Oh, it's my birthday, guys. Anyways, we'll talk about that more. So please, continue.
I want to go into the writing of the movie with Kevin Williamson.
I don't want to wait. Sorry.
90108.
Every time you say his name, I'm just going to say that.
Sorry.
Every time I say Kevin Williamson?
I don't want to wait.
Ooh, different
for
octave.
our lives to be over.
I want to know right now.
You can keep talking and it'll just be,
Ladies and gentlemen,
it'll
welcome
just
to
be
the stage, Paula Cole.
It'll just be the background music. No.
Originally titled Scary Movie, Scream was born from the real-life events of the Gainesville slasher. Or Ripper. Gainesville Ripper.
Really?
Yeah. If you don't know that, it was a gruesome killing spree of University of Florida students in 1990. The screenwriter Kevin Williamson.
I don't want to wait.
It really affected him. He would always check to see if his windows were closed and his doors were locked, all because of this. He was really concerned about home invasions, and that gave him the spark to write the villain for this movie of someone terrorizing people in their homes. There were other things that gave him inspiration. Big one was the movie Halloween. Kevin Williamson was a big fan of John Carpenter's original Halloween, and there are nods to it in every Scream movie, which we will go into.
You know how you couldn't tell it was Halloween?
Oh, what?
There was a masking agent.
There's a what?
Masking agent.
Oh.
Huh? Anyways, please continue.
When he finished the screenplay for Scary Movie, he wrote treatments for part 2 and 3. He already had a franchise in mind and had it all planned out.
So what the fuck happened?
We'll get to that in 3 because a lot changed.
So was he a big fan of "I Think I Love You" by the David Cassidy?
Yeah,
evidently. But we'll talk about that in 2.
You know who was a big fan of that was Wes Craven.
Oh, who directed the first one along with everything else. So let's go ahead and just transition.
So Scream 2. No. Kevin Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
His script was so well written that there was a huge bidding war for this movie. Universal wanted it, Columbia wanted it, Paramount wanted it. It ended up that the saintly Bob Weinstein bought it and paid for it through Miramax or Disney.
Huh.
The only problem was that because it was by Disney owned Miramax, they made him basically remove a ton of gore and kills from the script. And when Wes Craven got his hands on it, he basically put it all back.
I'm just imagining that film without gore or any of the horror aspects Disney-wise, and I just realized that's pretty much Brave.
And it's funny because Wes Craven got his hands on it when he was done with horror. He did Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and he wanted to move on to be making movies like Music from the Heart In fact, he was told that he could do movies like that if he did Scream, which parallels in the Roman's character, not your character, Roman's character in Scream 3 when he said, "Oh, I got to do this damn horror movie to make the movies I want to make."
Which you hear that from time to time, and people have to pay their dues.
Wes Craven didn't like the growing trend of the misogyny in horror tropes. It was kind of used in the 80s, but as we grew as a society, that never grew away. That never went away. That never evolved. So he just didn't like that anymore. But he thought,
I made my money off of it. I'm not happy anymore.
But he was in a big twist of irony. It was Bob Weinstein that said, "Look at this script, and there's a flip on misogyny in this movie, and I think that's a good thing."
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Weinstein was involved because I heard that script was passed around a few times.
Ooh.
Jeez.
It's a good Weinstein joke.
It's gonna be for this whole series.
Oh man.
And Bob Weinstein, he's the one that changed the name from Scary Movie to Scream because he was a big fan of the Michael Jackson song. And both Williamson and Craven hated the name Scream up until
they saw the check.
Well, up until they basically started working on Scream 2, and they're like, yeah, it kind of fits now. Because they liked the idea of it being called Scary Movie because it was a self-aware satire on the Scream thing. Now, casting Sidney was easy for Wes Craven. He already had Neve Campbell in mind because he was a huge fan of Party of Five.
That makes one person.
Okay.
Which is funny because, this was not Neve Campbell's first horror movie. She was in another horror movie in 1991 or 92 in Canada about a worm.
A worm?
Yeah. I saw it on the Variety interview with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a joke.
I didn't go.
No,
I didn't go that.
No. She was 17 and she played a cop and she told a funny anecdote about
an antidote.
Yeah, that too. Anecdote. What's
anecdote?
Anecdote. Oh boy, anecdote. Anecdote. It's just like when I was 13, I kept on saying Pacific instead of specific. So good to know no one's going to hear this. Oh yeah. Anecdote. But she was.
I still say Paschetti. So.
Well, you know what? It's just cute. It gets really cute points. And anyways, so she was 17 and she was casted as a sheriff for this horror movie in Canada, and she got her costume and it was meant to fit for a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how big that jacket was on her, and they showed stills of her wearing that jacket, and it looked pretty bad. But it's good to know no one will ever know that story.
Nope. It's never going to be told.
No, it won't. Anyways, so Neve Campbell, was the choice from the beginning. Party of Five.
Huh.
Yeah, he saw her and thought, that's my next Heather Langenkamp. He thought they both were strong, but vulnerable female characters that. Something traumatic like this in their life would change their characters forever, and I agree. If you stuck out through all 4 movies, you'll see that.
Yeah,
she grows. I just am not a huge fan of hers.
Yeah, if you can,
Neve Campbell or Sidney Prescott,
it's the same person.
Well, I mean,
Neve Campbell. Neve Campbell plays kind of the same in all her roles, even after this group, but she just, I don't know, she's just got the same, like.
So how is her character in Wild Things the same as Sidney Prescott?
But she still acts this, she still has that pouty, dopey, mousy look to her that just kind of, I don't know.
I assure you, from any 14-year-old boy who watched Wild Things, he does not notice a pouty,
no, of
dopey,
course not.
You're not
noticing any of her acting in that movie. I'm just saying. She
Yeah, all the acting goes to Matt Dillon in that movie.
Yeah, that was my hunka burning love.
Join us in 2022 as we do our Wild Things episode. We could probably get Denise Richards to come in. She's not doing anything. So.
Yes, she is.
What's his name?
She's on The Real Housewives.
Oh, so she's not really doing anything.
She is.
What's his name? No, sorry if you have to say the joke twice.
Denise Richards.
Actually, you know what? She sounds like a really cool person. I've seen some interviews. She seems like a very, very awesome person.
Yeah, we could talk to her about Christmas Jones.
She's super hot.
The film where she had the ghostwriter of a husband played by
Nicolas Cage.
No.
He was
Charlie
ghostwriter.
Sheen. No, Charlie Sheen was her ghostwriter husband doing Dear Johns for her.
That's her real life husband. Anyways,
Yeah,
I'm surprised Denise Richards wasn't in any of the Scream movies, but she wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
No, and she
That's
was
weird.
She was a budding actress in the 90s.
That's very strange.
She was doing.
Nev Campbell was like, I don't want her.
Except she did.
Yeah, but at the time she didn't.
When Wes Craven cast Skeet Ulrich, he did not put together that he looked like Johnny Depp, even though we all did.
Yeah, we did.
He's like I didn't even see that. People had to tell me.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
I do. He doesn't lie.
He was dirty Johnny Depp.
Hey, Luke Wilson did a great job.
He actually cast him because both him and Nev Campbell worked together in The Craft, and they already had chemistry together, and they could act well off each other. So he thought he was perfect for the movie. So let's see, most of the movie was shot in Sonoma County, California, mostly in Santa Rosa. Oh, this is the fun part. The high school they shot in was Santa Rosa High. Now, the school board had to read the script first, and they absolutely hated it and denied them use of the school because of the teen violence and the vulgarity of them talking and joking about the teen violence and everything. Like that scene in front of the fountain where they were talking about, eviscerating things, and they're like, no, we don't want that. The school board said that. Now, the teachers, the principal, the business owners, the parents, and pretty much every other citizen said, screw you, we're shooting a movie here. And they got to shoot it at the high school. In fact, there's a credit. If you watch the whole movie, there's a credit at the very end where all the thank yous are. And there's and a no thank you to the Santa Rosa High School for shooting this movie. It's funny. But it's funny that the school board's like, oh, no. And the rest of the town's like, yeah, we're getting a lot of money for this. So yes.
Yeah.
That's just dumb on their thing.
Go play golf, Mortimer.
Yeah. The ghost face mask was another problem they had. Looking around the town, they found this little knick-knack shop, and inside this trunk, they found the original ghost face mask. And Wes was like, yeah, I want that. I want to use that. And,
how much is it? Yeah, we're doing it.
And the only problem was it was owned, the
licensing.
The visual licensing was owned by Fun World, which still makes the costume. Because Wes was like, well, let's just buy him out. So they had to go through that. First, they were like, we can make our own. We'll reshape it and everything. We'll do our own. And they're like, no, let's just buy the company. And so they bought out the license, and they still sell it.
He went full Bruce Wayne.
He did.
Yeah, it's like, how did you make this happen? I bought him.
I bought it.
Yeah. You can't swim in the fountain. It's mine now.
I own it.
The party scene took up 42 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And it also took 21 days to shoot.
Good Lord.
It was considered one scene because it was a party scene. And the crew jokingly said it was the longest scene in all of horror. And at the end, Wes Craven had T-shirts made for the entire crew that said, I survived scene 118.
Does anyone actually in scripts call it scene 118? Usually whenever I read a script, it's usually internal shot of...
I blame that on Jamie Kennedy.
You blame a lot of things on Jamie
I
Kennedy.
bet you it was him. I bet you he improv'd a lot
Mm-hmm.
and kept laughing and kept getting everybody all riled up, and everybody else is like, "I'd like to go home."
No, hold
even
on.
though a lot of it was him by himself.
Yeah, but he probably just kept talking to people off camera and just acting like a goof. Yep.
Yep.
I blame him.
Once the movie was complete, they had to recut the movie 8 times.
Good grief.
To avoid an X rating from the MPAA. In fact, all the Scream movies had to be cut like crazy.
Pun intended?
Yes, because of the horrible people at the MPAA. But Craven had clout, and at one point he even lied to the MPAA, saying that the Drew Barrymore scene, because he wanted at least the shot of her hanging there with her intestines hanging out. He lied to him, saying, "Well, that's not the cut. That's not the final cut. I'll cut that out." And they held him at his word, and he got away with it. So, releasing on December 18th, 1996, Scream was an instant hit. It released in December because it wanted to contrast all the Christmas movies coming out, and it worked. With its self-aware, satirical dialogue, fresh take on horror, with a script that didn't treat the audience like idiots, and the intense terror, Scream was here to stay.
How do you treat audience members like idiots in a script?
The story, the main rule any screenwriting professor will tell you: write a movie like you're writing for idiots. You hold their hand. You give them story elements that go, oh, like that scene beforehand. Okay, I get it. Or they hold on something. Or
yeah, basically any previous horror movie.
Yeah, any horror movie.
Okay, so that explains
any Halloween.
That explains why my scripts never went anywhere. Okay, cool.
Directors have to do that too. I've heard stuff of Kevin Smith when he was a decent filmmaker. He would talk about how he wouldn't make movies for idiots, and then the studio that he's working for, if he was doing a studio film, they made him do it.
Sure, that's how he explains Jersey Girl.
You see it a lot in films that have shots that show like air conditioning vents and fans. Mm-hmm. You always see those tassels on them to show that there's things blowing. And that's because they think people can't put together that a moving fan isn't blowing freaking air.
Okay, you know what? I need some new dad jokes, so let's go ahead and take a break.
Okay.
If you're looking for a hot podcast, I've got the one for you. The hottest podcast of the year is The Real Housewives of Reality, starring Scarlett and Allison. This podcast has everything. It's girl meets girl, 2 Bravo-obsessed hosts, a producer named Leon, who knows what love is and is very often screamed at and or abused on the air, allegedly. Weekly recaps of all your favorite housewives, hot gossip, an unadulterated and inexplicable love of Iowa, deals on Mary Kay and BetterHealth.com, relationship advice if you want to stay single forever, and who doesn't. Plus, there's bonus material like the Bravo Booster Pack, which highlights the most iconic Bravo episodes through all the years, and housekeeping with the hottest gossip for you to listen to while you keep your own house. If you do, hey, tune in. There's so much more. I said what I said.
Critics were both approving and slightly confused by the movie. Roger Ebert... Ugh.
They hated this movie.
He couldn't understand the connection of the well-written, self-aware characters and the intense violence. He's like, "Why? I don't understand why this is the same movie."
Yeah.
Because he's terrible. He hates anything that's not what he likes.
But they liked the second one for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because the checks were cashed on that one.
Yeah.
All the critics agreed though that they were onto something big with this movie.
Yeah.
And before even releasing, Wes Craven signed on to do 2 more sequels.
Wes, what are you doing? Nothing. You want money? Sure.
Exactly.
Oh no, he loves the series. I loved it.
No, I know that, but it
sure,
just
but
works.
money helps.
Yeah. Money helps open the doors, if you know what I mean.
Money helps open the doors.
Exactly.
Let's get into the music. Music was a big part of Scream, especially the album. In the 90s, there was a big trend going on where if a movie had licensed music, they would release it as the movie, comma, the album. Like Demon Knight, the album. Or
Maverick, the album.
The Crow, the album.
Or The Craft.
The album. Right.
Yes.
If there's any licensed music, they released an album. And this movie had a great album.
So Empire Records, the album, was confusing to me. Anyways, please continue.
This Scream the album was and still is a CD I put in my heavy rotation. It's actually in my car CD player right now.
Scream the album is just too loud for me. They need a whisper.
They need to turn that down.
Really
well,
does.
what's funny is my favorite song on there is the cover of Whisper to a Scream by Soho. But it also gave Nick Cave's Red Right Hand basically the Wayne's World treatment.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It somehow became the song of the movie series, and they actually wrote a sequel for it in the third one.
Okay. Didn't pick up on that, and I just watched the third one.
Yeah, at one point it plays and it's different lyrics and stuff. I think it's in the credits.
Oh. I'll explain it.
Yeah, it's actually listed as Red Right Hand Part 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Last time you listened to the song, I talked about the red right hand. Now we're going to see what else happened to the guy.
Still walking around with his red right hand. He was just hanging out with Hellboy.
It's not exactly like Bob Dylan's Things Have Changed, which is basically the sequel to the times they are changing, according to Bob Dylan, where it's like, hey, I'm bitter now, I'm older, and things have changed. So I'm just saying, Nick Cave, way to go.
And he wasn't
job.
Unforgiven too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So
that's a little bit too on the nose,
what,
guys.
Did you guys own the Scream, the album?
No.
Wow.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Oh, I don't even think I know any other songs from this.
First Cool Hive is on that album. By Moby. You'd know it if you heard it.
Well, no. I remember What If was from part 3.
That's
I think.
2.
Was it? What if?
Yeah.
What if,
Yeah,
what
and
if,
that,
what if,
and of course everyone remembers the
all dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that guy. I
Scott
remember.
Stapp.
Well, yeah.
Creed.
Yeah.
He said that guy.
Oh.
Well, no. There's a song that was on like MTV late at night, and it was "You're All Dead." I just remember that.
I don't know. We'll get into that.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
But everyone remembers the Gus Black acoustic guitar cover of "Don't Fear the Reaper."
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
During a non-steamy love scene, because nothing in that movie was a steamy love scene, and they did that on purpose.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of these songs except for "School's Out" by Alice Cooper.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good record. I don't know where that voice was.
There's only like 8 songs on it.
Huh. And then it has a couple of the score pieces. Speaking of the score, Marco Beltrami. I don't even know if I said it right, but Marco Beltrami. He cut his teeth on this movie.
Really?
This is his first feature film.
Did he call a dentist?
No.
Oh.
And it shows. It's not a very good score. It's not very memorable. The opening scene at the school is basically all anyone remembers. And it was
not the 45 minutes of House Party? No one remembers that? Okay.
No, not the music.
I remember Dewey's music. That's it. Because I don't pay attention to score, so that annoying song that played every time Dewey would come up, like we were getting ready to go to the Wild Wild West OK Corral and start shooting.
That's because he took a lot of his influence from Ennio Morricone.
I see that. It's just annoying. I don't think it happened for all of the movies, but
it did.
I didn't hear it in 4.
It was his theme.
Yeah,
they must have changed it then as as it went on because it
Probably.
wasn't that annoying.
But yeah, it's not my favorite of horror scores, but it's effective. You know, you hear it, you know the Scream theme.
Evidently not.
Yeah,
you probably would if you heard it.
I want to play it now.
No.
I don't think that I do. I just know.
I'm gonna pause it.
Well, I have it on right. I have it up right here.
A few moments later.
I don't know about you guys, but when this movie came out, I was absolutely obsessed. The marketing of the movie was so well done, you had no idea what was going on. You had no idea who was alive, who was dead. You didn't know Drew Barrymore was going to be killed off in the beginning. It was just great. The opening scene, killing off the big actress, basically opened up the movie to, well, what's going to happen now? Because that was just the first 5 minutes of the movie. Yeah. It was, I called it Psycho on steroids.
Yeah.
The opening scene was terrifying. The first encounter with the Ghostface killer was absolutely... It was a slasher movie again. We had a slasher movie again, and it just made everything feel great.
It was so intense. Even the sound of the phone ringing.
Yes.
Is so haunting. And that's one thing that I picked up on rewatching it, especially when you know it. It's like, wow, this is intense right here, and with no real ambiance in the background. It's just Drew Barrymore talking.
Yes,
and then you hear the sexy, smoky voice at first, and Drew Barrymore's character is quasi flirtatious. And number one, this is how you know it's in the 90s, because about 10 years later, chicks will hang up on you. It's like in the 90s, it's like, yeah, I'm watching a movie. I do remember that. I do remember having conversations with people when you had the wrong numbers. Yeah. So that's not completely far-fetched. So,
and I remember the entire. I went on opening night, and I remember the entire theater just gasp when he said, "I want to know who I'm looking at," because you don't, you weren't expecting that. You're expecting a crank call, and this guy being maybe evil on the phone, and didn't expect him to be right out freaking side of her house, and just the opening scene it just set up the movie for so much.
I saw the film not in theaters, but I saw it when it came out on video. I saw it
on video.
I saw it at a sleepover with a bunch of my high school football teammates, and we had a different reaction. Yeah, boy, yes, get her, yeah. As I'm just like, wow, these guys, you guys, wow.
I went to the theater maybe 6 or 7 times to re-see the movie, and I brought new friends every time. I was like, you have to see this movie, and you have to see it in the theater. You have to see it in the dark, and you have to hear it. Yeah, it has to be loud. And everyone enjoyed it, and it was you know how they say that horror movies are like a roller coaster ride? Yeah. Well, this really was like a roller coaster ride. You know, you had your real intense moments, and then you had your this is fun, and the characters are great, and then all of a sudden, we're dropping again, and it's a real roller coaster ride.
So, Allison, when did you first see Scream the original?
I saw it in the theater.
Were you one of the gaggle of people that were coaxed to watch this film in a dark room with this gentleman?
No, and I didn't see it opening night either. I mean, I remember the movie theater being really packed, but
so I guess you're Christmas shopping instead, huh?
Christmas shop. Oh yeah,
it came out in December.
I don't know what I was doing, but yeah, I saw it in the theaters.
Not watching the movie on opening night. That's what you were doing.
I don't think it was opening night. Who knows? I don't even remember what theater it was. Well,
in. I was working at the mall then, so I would also go when I clocked out. I'm like, it's starting now. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Because it was at Tyrone 6. Another fun story is I also remember when DVD players first came out, because
no way.
When they first came out, I had to have one. I don't know why. But I wasn't a spoiled child, but I had to have this. And so
you were really pissed off having rewind, right? You're tired of it.
I was tired of being kind.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't want to rewind. So my first DVD player.
So you were that dickhead that I would get the movie from, as is in the climax of the movie. I'm like, no, oh shit.
No, because I had a separate Rewinder.
Okay.
My first DVD player cost me.
Was it called the Elmer Futter?
It cost me $500.
Wow, jeez. In 1996 money, so that was like $3 million.
Yeah, right. At one point, I owned all the DVDs Best Buy had because there were 12 of them. But
so, how many copies of The Boiler Room did you have?
But the first 2 DVDs that I bought were Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, and Scream.
Okay, one you asked for a refund, one we're making a podcast over.
I don't want a refund for Scream.
No.
Yeah, I love the Austin Powers movies.
Good for you. I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm really happy that you like
them.
I remember the first one.
But it's also when DVDs were new and we were discovering deleted scenes, behind the scenes stuff, and my absolute favorite, audio commentary. I was in movie nerd heaven.
Well, if you see in this scene here, I actually inserted the guy who took out my trash. He's in the background. That's Bob right there.
I remember Bob. Yeah, he was a good sport when you covered him in guts.
Oh yeah, he really was. He really was. So who doesn't love that?
I do. I really do. In fact, when the first Evil Dead movie came out on DVD, the audio commentary was just Bruce Campbell. He had to sit there and talk about the movie throughout the entire thing, and it was hilarious.
Having seen Bruce Campbell talk, that wasn't hard for him.
A lot of it was, look at that guy.
Yeah.
Or, that hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And then the Trey Parker ones were great because him and Matt Stone would just get drunk throughout the entire movies. They started that with Orgasmo. And then Cannibal the Musical, it got really, really bad. They started getting drunk and high, and then they started doing video commentaries of them actually getting drunk. It was great.
For the record, I do like commentary because it's very interesting insight. I really enjoy it. But why did you like the commentary in Scream specifically?
Because it was the first DVD that I owned that had commentary on it, and I'm like, I'm listening to them making this movie. I was 17-year-old kid, still not really versed in the art of filmmaking, and I'm getting an inside view right now from one of the greatest directors that ever lived in the horror community.
So you're saying they painted you a picture on the picture, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They showed me how the sausage was made.
Ooh, he was talking about his porn days.
And I really wanted to make some with him.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. The uncut version, huh? You inserted that one in your DVD player, huh?
I did.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I remember a few years later, DVD players were like $40, or they came free with like a Big Mac. Get your own DVD player. I'm like, great.
No. I remember if you signed up for a bank account, they gave you a DVD player.
I remember seeing them at CVS. I'm like, God damn it. Same thing happened when I got my first HD flat screen. It was a 32-inch. It cost $600. So you guys didn't really jump through hoops for this movie? You didn't
I did when I got older. When I first saw it, I was a huge fan of Psycho. I grew up loving Hitchcock movies. I thought it was fantastic. Just how Hitchcock was shot. So I recognized very quickly the twist of Psycho when I first saw it. And of course, I told my guys that I was watching, and they didn't care. They were just asking to rewind the scene with Rose McGowan for the 5th time. Sorry, when you're with a bunch of 14, 15-year-olds, that's what you get, guys. That's what you get.
That's what you get.
Yeah, we heesh. So when I saw it, I thought it was very intense. I thought it was very interesting. It was something that I really hadn't seen before because it was funny, but it wasn't overly funny. It wasn't a comedy. It had funny scenes.
Right. It had characters that you're like, I like them.
Yes. For the most part, it wasn't overly predictable, per se. I remember catching myself wondering where they're going, and I was caught up as a young viewer being misled by the director, which didn't happen much after that because I started thinking ahead of things. So, I probably watching it now would have kind of gone, no, it's not the dad. Whereas when I first saw him, like, oh, the dad did it.
Well, yeah, that was a big thing. That's the prom night in the movie.
Yeah.
Is it the dad? Is it the janitor? Is it the principal?
Yeah.
Is it the chief?
Yeah, it spoiled that for me. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it spoiled it, but
The
that's
red
the movie.
red herring.
Yeah, that's the movie that now you're just like, oh, is it the boyfriend? Oh, it's going to be the boyfriend's mom. Oh, it's going to be the person that's the best friend. Oh, wait, they were only gone for a couple minutes. Maybe it's really them. Oh, they pop up every time something happens.
It's always going to be a character named Roman.
But I appreciate that they did that because no movie had done that before.
And it's funny, you did not see it in the theater. You saw it on a video for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, and I grew up watching horror movies, mostly on TV and in video on
when we
video.
get to Screen 3, I got an interesting story about how I watched that one, but that would be in hour 18.
Seeing it in the theater was probably the first time as a functioning brain, because I saw a lot of movies in the theater as a kid with my mom because she took me to do them, and I didn't really pay attention. I was a kid. But this is one I really paid attention to, and I felt vulnerable throughout the movie. Sitting in the dark, the killer was everywhere. The killer seemed to be just appearing out of everywhere. It was two people, so it could have been everywhere. I actually felt like I was in danger because I couldn't see behind me when I was in the theater. Being 17 years old, and I was still a scaredy cat in the theater because it was the first time in the dark I'm watching this movie going, I am really getting tensed up for this movie. And I think that's what made it even more fun of a ride, because even after like the third time I'm like looking behind me and all right, I'm doing good, I'm doing fine, just watch the movie, just right there, just stay right there. And it was great. I loved every second of it. I don't know, I really got into it.
It was fun. It was continues to be fun. I really enjoyed it. No issues whatsoever with the film itself. However, when I do watch it with a 39-year-old's eyes, knowing where it goes, it's a little bit saddening because you see how exciting it is, and I kind of feel bad for kids who are watching it for the first time, like my sister-in-law who's 20 when she first got into the films, about 14, 15, so on and so forth. She would not be as excited to watch it because of how many tropes came from Scream.
Right. You can't.
So
it made what horror is now.
Right.
Oh yeah. So it would not have the same impact.
No, and also they don't know what phones are. I mean, they don't know what a house phone is. Like, if you watch it, when I watch these movies again,
clearly they never hang out with the grandparents.
I mean, as you got more and more in the movies, it's like, do you know who this is? Yeah, let me check my caller ID. Yeah, it's John Smith at blah, 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 blah. Or now it's like, you have your cell phones and now everything's on, online and everything like that. And you can adjust your locks online. And so it's just, it's not the same.
Right.
So they don't get that.
And that's what I think's cool about the trailer for the fifth one is where the killer starts messing with the girl's locks on her phone.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
Yeah.
That's the part that's real life to me.
Do they get a new Chucky that has access to all the things? No Bluetooth.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry,
I really liked that movie.
I actually saw that for the first time the other day.
It was a damn good remake.
It was.
I just like Mark Hamill. And there's people from the original movie I do not want to talk about that I just can't stand.
Anyway, so let's talk about what we can stand.
Okay, let's get into some Easter eggs. This is my favorite part.
Geektoids.
Yes, a whole list of geektoids. First, let's begin with the Halloween connection.
You mean besides the obvious?
Well, yeah. The whole idea is a Halloween type thing. People, mainly girls, being alone in houses with a killer inside. But let's start with the boyfriend.
Billy.
Billy Loomis, named after Dr. Sam Loomis from Halloween, who was named after Sam Loomis from Psycho. So it's still a Halloween connection, but Halloween took it from Psycho. It was a Psycho connection through Halloween. When Casey's parents return home to find her body, her father tells her mother to drive down to the Mackenzies. And that's a line from Halloween. Laurie tells the kids to go to the Mackenzies.
Yeah.
Tatum refers to Sidney's Worry as a Wes Carpenter flick.
Okay.
As in Wes Craven and John Carpenter. And during the party, Randy's watching Halloween. And in fact, the scene where the girl goes completely topless is the scene where Sidney takes off her top,
her shirt.
Yeah. That was this movie's Halloween connections. Linda Blair briefly appears in the movie as a reporter. And the very beginning, very beginning at the school, she's one of the many reporters there, and she mentioned something about occults.
Oh,
you know what I like about Linda Blair? She's a head turner.
Oh man. Probably the most obvious of Easter eggs has been mentioned as Wes Craven's cameo as Fred the janitor wearing his trademark red and green sweater and fedora.
Right.
And let's see what's more. Henry Winkler's closet has the Fonzie's leather jacket in it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He was funny.
And this is really kind of cool. During the party scene, when Billy and Sidney were in the bedroom talking before anything happened, there's a few close-ups on Billy's face, and when he's talking to Sidney, he kind of looks away to where Stu is hiding. And Wes Craven did not tell him to do that. That was all Skeet's idea of getting into character and making sure everything's meticulously planned the way he wants it to be. And I didn't know that until I watched it with commentary. I'm like, wow, that's really cool.
Wait, when
they're in the bedroom talking, because that's when when Stu attacks Billy, fakely.
Oh, that's right. Okay, after they bang.
Yes,
that's
afterwards.
Right. Okay.
He's hiding in the closet,
and he's making sure he's like, pay attention, Stu.
Gotcha.
And that's and that's it for my found Easter eggs. I don't know if you guys have anything that you discovered.
So Billy came in wet.
Yes.
Okay, got it. No, he got his up and comings.
No.
Oh, no. Anyways,
but it was a cool breaking of the
one last
abstinence trope.
Last one. I guess the film finally reaches climax.
Ho!
Anyways, sorry guys. So the virgin trope. Yes.
And on that note, I know Allison didn't watch it again. You talked about how you watched it again and you saw it differently. And it's hard to watch it again and not knowing and be moved by the new tropes and stuff, because it's become all the norm for horror movies now. Me watching it again with new eyes, it's still a fun ride. Knowing what's coming, it's like riding Space Mountain now. I know every twist and turn, but I still have a good time riding it. It's just something that I won't give up. I really like this movie. Like I said, when I was a teenager, I was obsessed with it, and I don't think I'll give up on being obsessed with the first Scream movie anytime soon.
Well, that's why I didn't watch it again, because I know it, and I didn't want to ruin like the last time I saw it, because I think it's been probably 10 years since I sat through the whole thing. 'Cause sometimes it's on TV and I'll like watch it, but I always want to see the opening scene. And after the opening scene, it's like, I mean, it's still a good movie, but that opening scene is just so good that like the fountain scene and everything going on after that, unfortunately, I mesh Scary Movie with it. And
Well,
and the video store scene was great because that's when you realize that they're in a movie.
Right. But it does. It just
not
kind
in
of
a movie. They're realizing that they're troping.
Which is funny because you have Stu gaslighting.
Randy.
Yeah, it's like, what? Why would you think that?
And at the same time, they're looking over and judging Billy. Even Stu is like, that's poor taste.
Yeah.
And that's,
there's always a tension, which I always thought at the end of the day that Stu wanted to off Billy at some point.
Probably. Well, I believe that because they did talk about how Stu dated Casey, and I believe Billy killed her, and he was angry at him about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I always got. Even when I saw it, the second time viewing, once I knew everything was going on, I saw it again without the football players. When I saw it again, I actually saw it on a date with a girl who was babysitting. And I came over, brought the movie, brought some popcorn.
Oh, that's a perfect movie to bring over.
Oh,
you popped some popcorn, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And Halloween. I mean,
she never saw it, and I got cuddle points for that one. High five. Thank you, Wes Craven.
How did someone like Stu date Casey and Tatum? Give me a break.
It's the funny nice guy.
Have you? Yes, actually, yeah. Funny nice guys can make it happen. Just saying, ladies.
They're like Matthew Lillard is.
Have you seen the size of his shoes?
The
Shaggy memes. I mean, he can do anything apparently. So
apparently,
Tatum's
he gives good helmet.
Tatum's death scene always bothered me.
It was so dumb.
It was. I mean, yeah, okay, but they could have done so much better with her, and not only that, but. That you would never die from that.
Garage doors aren't that strong.
Never.
No.
You would never. So that kind of bummed me out that they wrote that because it's like, come on.
Yeah, that was a Friday the 13th death, if anything.
Now, Mr. Geektoid, Adam, was she always to die that way? Was that in the original script?
Yeah.
That you know of?
Maybe that was a shout out to cheesy slasher. Maybe they were just like, whatever, we're going to make her die like the typical hot girl death. I don't know, but it always bothered me.
Yeah,
she deserved better.
She was discounted. She got a half off on that one. Huh?
She wasn't cut in half. She was bent.
Yes, there you go.
Well, and then the door fell,
and her little feet were like kicking. I felt kind of bad for her in her cute little short skirt.
Oh, they did a great job with that in Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like now, if you watch, everything kind of melts together now. For me.
In fact, the scene in Scream would be great if they cut to the ghost face in Scary Movie, just going.
Yeah.
No.
And if they blended the fountain scene with the fountain scene from Scary Movie, which is my hands down
That's Scary
favorite,
Movie 2.
Whatever, Scary Movie 2, which is my hands down my favorite thing ever. If you just blended them together, it would be great with the jacket.
Jacket's tight, son.
So, yeah.
That was what, from Step Up? No, Save the Last Dance.
Yeah, I've never watched Step Up, but Save the Last Dance I did.
Yeah. So that's it for Scream. It was a quick. It was a fun little romp through memory lane.
A little ditty.
Did you guys think after seeing the first movie that there was going to be a sequel or even a franchise after this?
100%.
Okay.
100%, because that's just, especially during that time period, if you saw a Scary Movie, you just assumed that there would be a sequel.
I had no thoughts that there would be a second or third urban legend.
I did, because there's so many urban legends.
Well, I know, but I just didn't think it would have done. I just didn't like the first one. I like the second one. I like Final Cut.
I think I get it from my mom in terms of when we would have, because my background was military. I was a military brat, so a lot of times we would move to these new bases, and you didn't always have friends. So my mom filled in until my brother and we made friends and basically abandoned her, essentially. But we would we would have movie night, and she would go, it's setting up for the sequel. There we go. Up. See, of course, he's not going to die. Yep, setting up for the sequel. Well, see, this is why they'll never make another Slumber Massacre. I'm telling you, Chaunchi. I'm telling you.
Well, it's only the best movies that give you a definitive ending that pretty much give you a sequel, and it's a good sequel. Like Scream just ended. I mean, it was just ended. It was done. It was good. It could have never have gone on from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what makes it a good leaping point for sequel.
Same with Nightmare on Elm Street. It had the silly, car thing, but at the end, but it could have been another dream. You don't know.
Yeah, they could have, if they'd never made anything else,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been just fine, and to the point where they kind of ignored the rest of them in New Nightmare.
Yeah. So, and then we get into Scream 2, but we're going to get into that next time.
Okay.
Next time.
So I hope you enjoyed following us on our little journey through Scream, and I hope you join us for our next episode. Where can you find our stuff, guys?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. You can actually follow us on Twitter at our handle of Cinemadness P. That's right, folks. Don't think about peeing without Cinemadness.
Never do.
Cinemadness P. Exactly. Shake it 3 times. You're probably doing it wrong. You can also find us on Facebook at Cinemadness Podcast. I just noticed that when I was looking at our Facebook page. I'm like, oh, we're just Cinemadness Podcast, not Cinemadness the Podcast.
No,
we are
we all
listed
keep
there.
saying different things. It's
Yeah,
funny.
you can go onto our website, cinemadnesspodcast.com. We always have fun and interesting stuff. We update it constantly with our Friday daily lists, our Friday weekly lists. And
our daily Friday lists.
Every day is Friday here.
Exactly. And if you take a look, you'll see various different blogs where your boy Roman is doing different things, writing streams.
Your boy Roman.
Yo, it's your boy Roman. Yo. You can also check out our TikTok. I believe, Adam, is it? I don't know what the kids are doing on TikTok.
It's at Cinemadness.
At Cinemadness, okay. And our Instagram, Allison, I will cave to you.
Cinemadness Podcast?
Okay.
I think you just type in Cinemadness anywhere and we'll come up.
Yeah. Or if you go to our website, all of our links are there.
Yup.
Ooh, there you go. That's right, kids.
So, thanks guys for joining us, and I hope to see you all in listening land and hear you all for the next episode, which is going to be Scream 2.
Okay.
Electric Boogaloo.
So that's where you want me to make a parody of Red Hand, right?
Scream 2 is coming in your hand.
Red left hand.
I'm stuck here with my green left hand.
Scream 3.